Okay, so most of the media that mostly the most popular media is copper, and they're called straight through cables, okay, or the UTP cables. Probably you guys have heard of this, right? So in the local area network, the most cables are UTP. They come with different speed. I think the fastest UTP cable is I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's 10 gigabit per second. Well, you see, these things always changes, so don't quote me on it. Maybe who knows? Overnight, now there's 20 gigabits per second cable. Okay, so these are the copper cable. They have the inside is the copper. That's why they call. Then you have fiber optic cable. The inside of the fiber optic is either fiber or the glass. They're more expensive than copper because it's not because of the speed, because copper is also very fast. The fiber optics are beneficial because of the distance. They can carry signals on a longer distance compared to the copper. They can carry signals 1,000 feet, and copper probably 100 meters. So that's why they're more expensive. Okay. And then you have wireless, which is also a media. So your end devices connect to the network either through copper cable, fiber optic cable, or the wireless. Okay, so one of the thing, all right. So the next topic is, so we have end devices, all these wireless tabs. So we already covered this. I already explained it to you. These are intermediary devices, and then we have network medias. So we have wireless, LAN media, and the WAN media. WAN cables are different, sometime are different than the LAN cable, depending on the connection. Okay. What else? You have interface card, network interface. I know you guys probably know very well the network interface cards. Topology, physical topology. What is a physical topology? Physical topology. Do you guys know what physical topology is? Did you guys learn about it, or you want me to explain it? Or I can skip. All right. Okay, so I guess. So physical topology is the placement of devices. So in a building where the devices are placed. So if you look at this diagram, so this is called a server room, 2158. That's the room number. So you have all the servers in this room. Then you have IT office, and then you have different room where that you have a room where you have all your switches, and then you have end user. So this is called physical topology. So that's why packet tracer is a useful tool to create physical topology. So physical topology is important because you have to place all your servers. You should place all your servers in one room, in a server room. Okay, server can be noisy, and so they will not disrupt the other users. And also the temperatures probably is different in the server room. It should be colder. And also security, because you don't want somebody to come into your server, come into your facility and disconnect your server. Okay, so the server room is mostly a separate room, and it's locked and secured. So that is called a physical topology, physical placement of your all your devices. Then you have logical topology. So this is the physical topology, physical placement. Logical topology is the same. It's just the logical topology is mostly about the IP addresses and the name of the devices. So when you install Windows 2000 Server, you name it, right? Based on the function. So for example, is it a web server, email server, or a file server? Okay, so that consists of sorry, logical topology. Okay. Now, what are the different sizes of networks? So networks are many sizes. You have LAN, local area network. You have home network where only, well, these days every household I think is a home network. Everybody has a wireless router, and if there are multiple people living in the house, you have telephone, you have printers, probably wireless printers. You have a laptop and even a desktop, like in my house. Okay, it's just me and my wife, but we have like many devices, so it's a small home network. So that's a small network, right? It's called a lot of people, especially in this days of pandemic, working from home, so everybody has a home office. It's called soho. There's a term, Cisco has invented this term soho, and it's because they have specific devices for this the small office and home office, like such as your router that you use at home. It's the combination of both router and switches, and it also provide wireless connectivity and wired connectivity both. Okay, most home offices don't have server, but you can also have servers, right, depending on what you're offering. Then you have LANs, which are the local area network. So LAN and WAN are different. Anybody knows the difference between LAN and WAN? Obviously, you guys have covered this topic. If anybody remember, is anybody remember the difference between LAN and WAN?
Yes.
Okay, so what is it, Masood?
LAN is local network, local area network, and the WAN is wide area network.
Okay, but does it has to do with the size of the network? Is LAN smaller than the WAN?
Uh, no.
Exactly. It does not matter what is the size of the network. Okay, so LAN, so let's say I'll give you the example of, again, Lester B. Pearson School Board. We have different centers, right? We have center in Lachine, we have center in Worden, we have center in DDO, different center. So each center, like our center, is a LAN. Okay, all the computers connected to each other is a LAN, but we are also connected to the head office, right? All the centers are connected to the head office because the main servers are in the head office, like payroll server, whatever you think, the database server, they're in the main office. So Lachine PEC is a LAN, and when it's connected to the head office, and when Worden Center is connected to the head office, it becomes a wide area network. Okay, so yeah, the size does not matter. It's just later on you're going to learn is the technology that you use to create a WAN. So a WAN, not every company has a WAN. Okay, some companies just have one location. But if the company has multiple locations, it becomes a WAN. So in one location, they could have only 5 users, 5 computers. In other location, they could have 20, 200 users. So they could have 200 computers. So these are multiple LAN. How you connect, how you create a LAN, here the cloud means service provider. So I cannot connect Lachine Office to Worden Office by running a cable from Lachine to Worden. What do I have to do to connect that? How I can connect our Lachine center to the center in Worden?
Then
Yeah, but what it means when? Like, am I gonna run a cable
router
Eh?
router
Yeah, I'm
connects
gonna
to
have
the
a
internet.
router. What else do I need? So obviously I need a router in my office and a router in Lachine office,
Internet
okay? Where this connection is gonna come from, how I'm gonna connect this router in Lachine to this router in Worden
through internet.
through a service provider. Don't say internet because this is what you're gonna learn. Service provider have different options. They can either use the internet to connect these offices, but there's no there's less security if you use internet. or they can run or they can use a dedicated line. So you have to call Bell, Videotron, whatever the what other ISPs are available. It's just like when you buy internet connection for home. So you just have to call them. They usually don't advertise their prices and the link. You have to talk to somebody, okay, for the business connection. So this is how you create WAN network. It's just bunch of local area network connected together through by the service provider, by using the service provider, because no organization can run cables from one location to another location. It's only the service provider. Here in Canada, there are two only. They own the physical topology or physical network. There are Bell and the, what do you call, Videotron. Okay, a network serving small office, small components. So we have WAN, we cover. So we have branch offices here, branch 2. Then we have ultimate WAN, which is the internet. Okay, the internet can connect everything. Okay, is a worldwide connection. Okay, internet is used to browse websites, whatever. But so internet is the ultimate WAN, and that connects everything. Okay, then you have intranets and extranets. Intranet are actually a private it's a WAN that uses internet technology, a private intranet. So usually companies, they use file server to share resources. On intranet is just, it's exactly the same. It's just they use a web server to share resources. So instead of you go to the file server and download something, the company has their own web server, okay, only for internal use, not for public use. They have their own web server, and so the user can go to the web server, click on the link, and download anything they need or access anything, but it's in the form of web browser or HTML. That's the only difference. Otherwise, all the other devices are the same. So think of internet web server is a private web server. That's all. Intranet, sorry. Okay, so how do we access the internet? So you guys have know DSL, ADSL. These are different technologies that we can access the internet. These are the real technology that gives you. Think of these connections are the highway, right? If you want to go from DDO to downtown, you have to take Highway 20, right? And what else I can take, because I live here in DDO, so I can take either Highway 20 and I can take either Highway 40. Which one is faster? Depend on the traffic, right? So just like there are different highways with different traffic and different speed limit, I guess, yeah, I can go to Lachine using Lakeshore, which is 30 mile per, the maximum speed is 30 kilometers, right? Which is slower. So the same thing, you have connection, okay? So you have DSL connection, cable connection, you have cellular connection, and you have satellite connection for remote areas where the companies, they cannot, or they did not run physical cable because there's only few people live in those areas. That's why most of the farms has only satellite internet connection, which is very, very slow, okay, compared to DSL and cable. So there is a cellular network, okay, and they all have different speeds, depend on technology. You guys have heard of 5G or 4G or light. There are different technologies and they offer different speeds, okay? And we have cable, DSL, cellular, satellite. Dial-up phone. I don't. It doesn't even exist. I don't think most of you have ever seen a dial-up, ever used a dial-up network. I don't know. Joshua, have you ever used the dial-up network?
Once in my life.
Are you sure?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
Because I used to live out by the farms, so.
Okay. Still, so you
Before
remember
they
the
got
sound?
cable out there. Yes. I remember that
It was.
painful
I
noise.
used to dream about that sound. Okay. Anyway, so the dial-up network is not available anymore. So business internet connections. Now this is for the home user. That's why. So you call the service provider. You have DSL cable. Business internet connection is the whole different animal. Like you have to call them, and they're expensive. They could be they're dedicated. And why this business internet connection is different? Because of the security. You are if I'm accessing an employee database or human resource or payroll database from, like, not me, I'm a teacher, but the accountant in the school wants to access the payroll database on the head office, right? It has to be secure. So you cannot just use internet, because internet is not secure. People can steal data from the internet while it's traveling. That's what we're going to talk about later, the security. So what you can, so in this case, the company, when they, especially banks, when they connect all the branches together, they use dedicated lease lines, meaning it's only dedicated to them. It's not shared. And then you have Metro Ethernet. Metro Ethernet is a local area network, but it's set up in one municipality, or the metro in United States. They call municipality the metros or metro area. Okay, so but still you have to connect through the service provider. So usually you have separate internet connection to use the internet, and you have separate lines to connect multiple sites. And this is what we're going to learn in modules 15 and 16, how to configure devices to connect multiple sites. Okay, and how to configure devices to connect, which is easy, but mostly how to connect, how to configure devices to connect multiple sites, on multiple location. It could be in other continent, it could be in the same city, like for example, banks, or it could be in different countries. Okay, few years back, okay, there were separate networks. Local area network was separate, and then you have the telephone network that was separate, right? Through Bell, you use landlines, you have internet network connection, but now everything is converged. Even telephones are using even telephones are connected to the internet. So this is called convergence. The television is connected to the internet. So this is called converged network, meaning different services and devices are connected to the same network. As you can see, all this, you have television, phone, and the computer. They are all connected to the same network. One of the important thing of setting up a network is fault tolerance. Your network has to be reliable. One of the way you can make sure your network is reliable or provide fault tolerance is by using multiple connections. Okay, so you can see these are two different locations, right? Here's one router, here's another router. they could just use these two routers to connect. But what if the connection fails between this router and the internet? Then these two users in these two different facilities would not be able to communicate with each other, okay? Or they won't be, user from one network won't be able to use the database server that they have to use on the other network. So to provide fault tolerance, you can add two more routers and multiple links. So if this router fails, you still have the link to the network through this router. If this link fails, you still have the link to access this network through this router. So this is called fault tolerance on the network. It costs more, but it depends on the data, how important your data is. And when you're setting up a network, you also have to think about scalability, meaning what if the company grows, they hire more users, how easy it would be to upgrade that network from, let's say, 550 employees to 100 employees. How easy would you have to change all the devices, or you just have to upgrade some devices? So the scalability is important because it can cost you money if you're not prepared for the expansion. So for that reason, you have to choose devices that are easily scalable, okay? Or don't choose the devices that are currently suits your needs. So let's say, okay, right now you're okay with 1 gig per second switches. But what about the future, okay? What is the difference between 1 gig per second switch and the 10 gig per second switch? So what if you grow, if you're growing, right, it's better to go for the faster switch, because in the long run you would need it, so you don't have to replace the whole device. And especially with cabling, because it's hard to. Also, quality of service is one of the quality of service is a technique when you have both phone and computers connected to the same network. So so these are two type of traffic. You have digital data traffic, which is generated by computers, and you have data signals are generated by computers, and voice signals generated by the telephone. So you have to prioritize in case the network is congested, network is busy, which traffic should have priority. Obviously, it's voice traffic, because you don't want to talk to somebody and it's keep pausing after every sentence. On a data traffic, it's tolerable, right? It can be done, but voice traffic, it's not. So you prioritize. So there's a feature in devices, not just Cisco, every other devices, where you can prioritize. Obviously, network the security is very important. Okay, what is the purpose of the network? Anybody knows? Why do we even need a network?
For connecting many things, right?
Why do we have to connect many things, Jean?
Because we want to be updated.
It's for updating? No.
To share
There's
data.
other reason. Eh?
To share data.
To share, not just data, to share. That's the only reason network was invented. Okay, Jean? To share. In old days, I'm talking about 60s,
Yes.
what was there to share? Just files, right? There were files, like people are creating a worksheet or memos on the computer, and if they needed to share, they have to save on the disk. I don't know if anybody even haven't see a floppy disk. Okay, so you save on the floppy disk and you walk to 4th floor and you give it to that person. Here, can you please take a look and modify in this or add something? Okay, So that was obviously inconvenient. So that's how network were started, to share those files. And then it has grown. Then it became about sharing videos. Then it became about sharing hardwares, for example, printer. So multiple people can print on the same printer, the whole department. Then it became about sharing this social network, your video, TikTok videos, and your vacation pictures and your cat pictures, or what you eat today in the restaurant. Okay, so all this, it's only sharing. If you think about it, it's the only purpose of the network is sharing. Is just the stuff that need to be shared has changed or grown. Okay, so it's all about sharing. So anything, so I'm not talking about your personal data, like your pictures. I don't know that you share, how important they are for you, but I guess they're important, right? But for companies, any data that they need to share is also has to be secured. Okay, so any employees information, payroll information, their secrets, their for example, a pharmaceutical company, they're always researching on new drugs. That data has to be secured. Okay, so the security is very, very important, and especially with the network, internet these days, with e-commerce. So all these things is are shared, and when anything is shared, they are more prone to security risk. So that's why one of the very sought after, very high compensated role in within networking is security specialist. Okay, Cisco has courses on security because Cisco has their own security devices. Uh, anyway, so there are many levels of security. Physical security is first. Imagine you spend all these money buying firewalls, antivirus softwares. These firewalls can cost millions of dollars to the company. So you spend all this money, so nobody can attack your network from a remote location, but somebody can just, and if it's not secure physically, somebody can just come into your facility, connect to the wireless network or the wired network, right? Bring a little laptop. They come in disguised as a plumber or technician, electrician, and steal all your data. Okay, so physical security is also very, very important. So we'll go, so there are different level of security. We'll go into the detail later on, but probably some of the security measures you guys already know. Login, you have to have username and password and all this. So what are the recent network trends? Maybe you guys should know more than me. You guys are young and into technology. Well, bring your own devices. A lot of companies are asking people to bring their own devices. They're allowed to use cell phones and even tablets, right? So that's why we need to integrate courses about cell phone, how to use cell phone in a business environment, and tablets. Maybe you guys think you already know everything about using cell phone, but you'll be surprised. There are a lot of things, there are a lot of features that are related to businesses. So this is the new trend. What else? Online collaboration. People like, what are we doing? Remote learning, video conferencing, right? So you have different tools like Webex, meeting. So when you become in your first job, maybe this is something you have to deal with. Okay, setting up video conferencing, teaching people how to use video conferencing. You think it's easy for you, but there are still people, they have difficulty using Zoom or Google Meet. Okay, older employees. So one of the very popular Cisco product is Cisco Webex. It's mostly used by organizations, not the end user like home users, but mostly used by organizations. Okay, and one of the, I would say, is a latest trend. It's already been around for few years. Cloud computing. So this is my suggestion to you guys. If you want to work in IT, start using cloud. It's free. Start with Google Cloud. That's why I encourage you to do everything in Google Cloud. Use the Google Doc to write letters, Google presentation. Everything is here. Google Suite. Okay. Use the Google Suite. I don't know if you guys, did you have any course on using the whole Google Suite, or you just learned on your own? In any module, did anybody teach you how to use Google Suite?
Just on our own, mainly.
Eh?
On our own.
Okay. But because when I don't know who taught you researching information. When I teach researching information, I teach Google Cloud, how to use at least, how to save, how to, because some people like still confused, like where it's saved, how to copy and paste. So start using Google Cloud, because that's not just the future, even now the companies, because I told you, we have the students, they go to the stages and they come back and we get feedbacks from their supervisors and from the students, because the supervisor has to fill up the form, like, and in this feedback they tell us what are the things they want our students to know. And one of the top thing is cloud, any type of cloud. That's why school board paid a lot of money to get licenses for Microsoft 365 for you guys. You guys know that you have access to Microsoft 365, right? With your school account.
Yes.
Okay, so start using using those, practice with this. So the cloud computing is becoming, and I don't know, I'm predicting in I don't know how many years you're gonna have diskless computer. You're not gonna have a hard drive. Everything is gonna be on the cloud. And like I said before, the concern was security, but now it has improved. And especially with company like Google with unlimited resources, they have the best security software and devices in the world. So anybody's data is more secure in Google Cloud than in their own network. So you have different type of clouds, the public clouds like Google, and then you can have private clouds, hybrid clouds, which is the combination of public clouds and the private clouds, right? So the private clouds is like, let's say Lester B. Pearson. It's simple as just they set up a server, right? It's not a different technology. They just set up a server for the whole school board and give everybody access to that server. It could be a web server, okay, where you go and you download things. But I would not set up a private web service. Just I rather use one of the services, Amazon, Azure, and Google. And those of you who wants to grow or advance your career in IT, one of the thing is very in high demand is the knowledge of cloud. You can be a cloud engineer and earn more than $100,000 a year easily. Okay, and it comes with, and it's not impossible. You don't have to have a master's in computer science or anything. Like I said, you have your technical diploma and get some experience and go for certifications. A certification will teach, a Google certification or Amazon certification will teach you more about the Google or Amazon cloud than a master's degree in computer science. All right, so at home, the trends are also, the new trends are at home is solar panels, cars that are connected to the internet. Tesla is already over the air. They have updates, right? Solar panels. These are the new trend. They're not, well, they're very costly. I don't have anybody in my neighborhood who's using solar panels, so I don't know. I have never even seen it. I don't know where in Montreal, but mostly maybe in United States because they're still very expensive. But still, the technology is there. Who knows, when you guys are grown up, uh, it's more available. There's another trend called power line networking. So if you want to connect, so I have this room that I use as an office, okay, and then I have another room, okay. So I have desktop in both room. I can use wireless, but wireless sometimes is not as fast. So what I do is I can use my power line, okay, as a cable. So you can buy an adapter, okay, power line adapter. I have this adapter in the school. I'll show you when you come to the school. So you attach to, has anybody ever seen these adapter? Power line adapters? No? Okay.
I do see it.
You do? Okay. So I use it. I don't know if I have it here, but I'll show you in the school. So you attach to your electrical outlet and one here and one on the other side, and you can connect your computer because it has the Ethernet port. And then you have faster bandwidth, okay? Or in the area where, like, for example, my brother's house, he lives in Ontario. He for some reason he wasn't getting internet wireless signal in his basement. I don't know. I tried everything. They called Bell, whatever. They couldn't do anything. Okay, so yeah, then he used this to connect power line. So they use, actually, instead of you running the network cable, they use, because they both use copper, they use existing your electrical line. And wireless broadband, it's not the new trend. Wireless broadband is available for a long time. Okay, so you can have, they're little bit expensive. I don't know. I'm not actually really interested in, but so you can have, instead of cable connection, you can have wireless connection as well, direct. I think Fido provide wireless internet. Okay. So what is the network? How do you protect yourself from network threats? So you have, what are the network threats? You have viruses, worms, Trojan horses. Basically, they're the same. It's just now different name, but they're all viruses. What they do is they steal your data from your computer. Okay, there are spyware and adware. They install on your computer. They steal your information and give it to other people. But this is something you guys are willingly doing it. So I don't know, maybe for some of you it's not a threat. When you sign up for Facebook or whatever, even when you use Google, you're spied. Okay, as soon as I type Ford Bronco, all of a sudden on my phone, I'm getting ad for Ford Bronco. I use Spotify. They're bombarding with me with ad about Ford Bronco. That's the world we are living in these days. Okay. So everything is shared because they're spying on you. Okay. And one of the there's an article on the internet, maybe you can find, one of the person, he or she, I don't remember, it's a male or female. She said, okay, let me see if I disconnect with Google, Facebook, and Amazon, what happens? Because these are the biggest, they steal your data. She cannot even use the internet at all, because everything is connected to Google or Amazon. That's how big these influential these companies are. Like, because there are sites that are using Google services or Google server, okay, because they're using Google Cloud or Amazon Cloud. 90% of the network is connected to these three companies. It's scary how powerful these companies are. So she couldn't even use the internet. So, well, so there's no, I don't know, there's no escape from spyware. So you have different attacks, denial of services attacks for the companies where the user send a lot of requests to the web servers. I mean, attacker, and it bring down the server because server cannot handle all those requests, right? And then you have identity theft, data interception theft. That's why the companies use dedicated line between two facilities, because there are programs that can intercept data while it's traveling from one location to another location, and they can steal credit card information, user information, right? So you have to protect from that. And then identity theft. Wow, how many? Just yesterday I received a phone call. Oh, we are calling from your bank security department. They didn't say what bank. Okay, and somebody is fraudulently using your Amazon account, and if if you use if you made this make this transaction, press 1. If not, press 2. Have anybody ever received this call?
Yeah, many times.
Many times. Do you press 1 or 2?
No, I hang up the phone.
Exactly. Please, this is a scam. If you press any button, right, they will record it and they will manipulate as that you're agreed to something. Okay. So there are a lot of threats like this all the time, CRA, whatever. So you just have to be knowledgeable about this. Identity theft, don't give your information on any website. Don't click don't you click an email from your bank, right, asking your password, resetting your password. That's bullshit. But even now they change it. Now they don't do that. They ask to click press 1 or press 0. Can you imagine these thieves? All right. So you have to protect yourself from these threats. Some of the threats can be protected by technology, and some of the threats can't. Like, for example, most of the identity theft is your knowledge. There's no technology that can protect you from identity theft. Okay. So what are the solutions? We have antivirus and spyware to protect you from spyware and antivirus or from viruses. Then you have firewall, like Windows has a firewall. Have you guys learned about the Windows firewall? Does anybody know what is the function of a firewall?
We didn't learn a lot. Usually we just disable it because it was preventing the communication between the servers.
Okay. So actually the function of the firewall is to allow or disallow traffic. Okay. It's like when I was younger, in my younger days, when we go to the clubs, there's a bouncer on the club who either allowing people or denying people. So that's what the firewall is. It allows certain traffic and it denies certain traffic. And who decide what traffic to allow or what traffic to deny is you, the network administrator. Okay. So some traffic can be harmful. So for example, you're receiving a lot of requests for the web server and your company doesn't even have a web server. Okay. You're using Google web server. So that means somebody is trying to attack your network using the web protocol. Okay. So what you should do in the firewall, you should deny this type of traffic. Any web traffic you should deny because you don't have a web server. So this is what the firewall does. We will configure a simple firewall. Okay. Configuring a firewall is a separate topic. It's a course itself. Cisco has its own firewall. Juniper Network has its own firewall. Microsoft doesn't make firewall. And then Huawei has their own firewall. So the configuration is different, but the basic concept is the same. every firewall allow or deny traffic. That's all. Access control list is the same thing. You can allow or deny traffic based on IP addresses. And then you have intrusion prevention system and virtual private network, meaning virtual private network is the internet, but is the private internet. So you use VPN to secure your data. All right, so here's some of the information about your CCNA certification. So those of you who are serious about pursuing a career in specifically not IT, but specifically in networking, I would say you should pursue a certificate in CCNA. Not now, okay? Not now. I want you to dedicate most of your time to learn whatever this course has to offer, right? And looking for a job, your first job. That is very important. So once you find your first job, then you can study on your own time for certification. And the first certification for networking is useful is CCNA. Okay. And here you have different networking jobs, lab research and IT networking jobs. You don't have to, I give you this, I think, I usually use this assignment in module 17. Yeah, career management. I taught you career management, right? Because it's more related to that module instead of this module. Okay. Now, so this is, we completed chapter 1. Okay. Every chapter at the end, so you have the summary of the chapter. Okay. Network effect lies, common network threat, internet connection, network trends. What time is it? 34. Okay, so we're close to, and then every chapter has a quiz. Okay, now, okay, let me stop the recording.